Don't you be drilling now, so please keep it up.
The line runs, call this meeting to order. I guess we'll move straight to number 2, FY23 GP budget. Mr. Boyd, you want to take it away?
Yes, sir.
I don't hear anyone.
Mr. Hale has updated everything, included the cost to incorporate the approved certified scale, also the 6% to all other employees not on that certified scale. It's in the budget updated worksheet that I put in front of you. The column that's highlighted, I guess that's orange. That's where the changes are. That everything is included in there. As far as on some of these summary sheets that you have in your binder, the other things that are requested, they're not included in there. So, my recommendation is they not be. The board's focus was on improving teacher salaries and all employees, and so all of those requests that were made at the district and school level in this particular year, my recommendation is that they not be included in the budget. There's some items on there that are essentially one-time costs, and they're related to instructional needs. We can look at ESSER dollars to address some of these. As an example, in the summary sheet, one thing we do have that we will have to address is the purchase of math textbooks, but we believe, or we know, we can use ESSER funds to address that need. So, that's enough for me. I'm sorry. But the items that I shared with the board, we had left one group of employees out of last week's actions, and that was the school and district administrators. What we did was we applied the 6% to their salary, like all other employees, that current year salary, and then that is in the budget. That is incorporated in this draft of the budget.
Jerry, what page is that on? You know right on. Is it in this?
It's incorporated. The total cost of that is just under $152,000. I thought Brad maybe highlighted that.
I've seen it on the email, but I don't know if we had it in a hard copy or not.
Well, do you know where Mr. Hale is?
He's always way up.
Okay.
So does, principal-wise, does this reflect principal and assistant principals at all schools, or just what we now currently have?
All positions that exist.
Yes.
So with that plan, everybody in the system is included?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then what I sent to you was the discussion about moving from assistant principal to principal, district certified supervisor, and so on their own scale. That's what I shared with you. But the budget reflects that 6% increase from current year, and then we would just be moving that salary into and fitting it into the proposed salary schedules that I provided each week.
And there was 2 employees that usually move to the base salary.
Because they would be below the entry level,
Yes.
because of just how things were currently calculated, but that would be the only 2 that would get elevated to that lowest level of the proposed scales.
Is that included in?
Yeah, the cost is there.
So
Brad,
everything we've talked about is included in there.
Brad, knew those 2 employees, and then, but the cost was, in that amount was very small, but it was included and
Jerry,
incorporated.
if you would, make sure Mitch, that last, you missed a piece he had said, on your suggestion on what you wasn't covering this year.
Yes.
He wasn't missing.
On the summary sheet, everything below the required increases, that top section, that's incorporated. Everything below is not, and I don't recommend incorporating it. And that includes also all the school requests.
That's what he was saying, he could come back later and address some of those.
So does this include coaches' stipends and the 6% raise or not?
Stipends were not addressed this year.
Stipends were not addressed this year, so that's something that needs to be addressed next year.
That would be, in the request also to look at other employees' salary schedules, and stipends have been requested. So that'll be work that we need to do.
Anybody else? Well,
That's the only part that I don't care about on this budget, is we're not touching the people we need the most of. You know,
who?
instructional assistants, your
They got
cafeteria
6%
workers.
raise.
6% ain't much on $20,000 or 15, whatever, so.
But I mean, I don't think we have the time to go back and try to do like we did on the teacher scale. Because of all the
I
time
understand
to-
that, but.
And I thought that was the plan for next budget year.
Yeah, but
is go
who
through
knows
that.
what next year's gonna be? That's what scares me. And maybe 3 of us not here next year. You know what I'm saying?
I know 2 of them, Jay.
I mean,
Well, I understand, but maybe 2 more.
Well, are you thinking next year might be worse financially or better
Could be.
financially?
I mean,
Well,
we're already.
if it's worse and you've already ramped up your salary, then you're just really creating a bigger problem next
Yeah.
year. You're right.
Yeah. What is the total amount for this budget?
7.1 million in
7.1
addition
million.
to the current year's budget,
And that's every bit coming from fund balance.
based on sales tax growth.
I hear you, Keith, and I mean, yes, I agree with you. However, I don't think you got time you about gonna have to do it next year, because you ain't got time to go through it like you need to. That's a 6-month process, in my opinion, or several months.
To be honest about it, we done started going through it, and it got shot down, and we stopped. But, and I'll tell you something else. What are we gonna do for Jerry? I mean, he's got to have something too.
No,
Yeah.
not
I
until we're
don't-
able to address everybody.
I don't feel comfortable not giving you some kind of raise in this ordeal, because,
We can discuss that in June, though.
well, I mean,
Well, I think,
it needs to be in the budget, don't it?
I thought it
It's
was,
a budget number.
I didn't know it was timed to where it would be at the end. I thought we always, it was tied into your evaluation.
That's what I
and then
thought.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
his bonus. That is his
Okay.
bonus. He
Well,
gets a
that's-
bonus on his evaluation,
Okay.
but no kind of a raise. So,
Well, let's just throw in 6% like we did everybody else,
well, I think,
straight
I
across
don't
the
want to
board.
speak for you, but I think he'd rather have a bonus.
Well, I would, I would.
well, he'll get his bonus.
Well, maybe, but I just asked that if we're gonna look at other schedules next year, then we look at, as we budget for the next year, which would be the last year of my contract that's currently in effect. Then the discussion, I would just ask we talk about it in the next budget cycle. I understand, but I think until we address all the employees, I should be the last one addressed.
Man,
So, thank you, Vivian.
that's the first time.
I wanted to,
Okay,
okay,
and I will after
so it
you.
was my understanding when we started this, that we were gonna try to do a rotation basis, and we were gonna start with the teachers, because without teachers and without students, none of the rest of us have a purpose. So I thought we were starting with them this year, and then we were moving on next year to something else. That way, if you got in that rotating basis and you weren't doing it all in one time, it wasn't such a big hike in every year. So that was my understanding of what we were doing. Am I totally off base? Did I misunderstand?
Well, that's exactly what we're doing, but Keith's heart got in the way.
Okay,
Well,
I got you.
It's, you know,
I just think-
I know what it is to not have no money.
I know.
I just,
That
you
was
know, and
compliment.
they are getting their 6%, but we are going to be looking at them next year, and that's the biggest hike they've ever gotten. I mean, we've done 2% here and 3% there, and a 4 last year. I mean, I've really come a long way, and I really feel like if we can agree to get in this rotation, it will better our system in the long run.
I agree.
This is the
Chad.
first time, well, I'm gonna say it.
Go ahead,
This
say
is
it.
the first time in the years that we've had this kind of money to operate our schools in. And we've not had to go and ask for money. Well, last year we didn't have to ask for it, whether we used it or not in our fund balance. We used our fund balance to balance the budget. Now, you know, we're spending 7.1 now. And, you know, who knows? Tissa may not come in. So, who knows what's gonna happen?
Chad,
One thing I didn't see, Jerry, and I thought we would look at it tonight, maybe we'll address it down the road, was the principal's salary, the 6% really still doesn't get them to where they need to be, correct?
Well, and we're talking similar conversation with both our teachers and then our other staff. Yeah, competitive wise, no. But it continues to move down just like it's moving everyone else. You know, the fact is as a concrete example, I mean, there are assistant principals in some of our neighboring districts in similar situations that make more than a principal. But, you know, so we got work to do there, but, you know, there's always going to be work to do. As long as we're making progress, I think, you know, we can certainly build off of that.
It is your bonus that I'm a little bit, I thought we always did an evaluation of our director in the spring, late spring, correct?
I thought we did it in like
No,
July.
we've always done it in then because I remember Annette turning hers in at a graduation one time, remember? Yes.
Well, what's the
May and June,
contract,
what
I
she
guess,
said.
wasn't it?
May
You
and
remember?
June, May and June, okay.
In the contract, I
Yeah, so
requested a
2099.
cycle that it's done in December.
Well, does TSBA still do that for us and they will?
It's up to the board.
Okay.
Well, we're supposed to put a criteria together. I
Jennifer?
mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is that done by TSBA or you?
TSBA has been.
TSBA does
Mr.
that?
Master.
No, we didn't have, it's like that. Let Mike-
This is sure.
But you all developed it, I mean, you all.
this is,
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
If you would take it, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
Adding 6%.
I'd like to make a motion, we accept the budget as presented to us tonight.
I second.
Go, when you say option 8 plus 6%, correct?
Yeah,
That's actually the most recent version of the budget that we're proposing,
Okay.
which is that column that you approved, option A, that we labeled it option A, and then the 6% for all the employees not in that certified scale.
All right. Anybody else?
and we're not gonna do something to him.
No. Not yet.
Wish him happy birthday.
Happy
wish
birthday.
him happy birthday.
Well, that's what
Appreciate it.
I was gonna ask Brad, I mean, if after the first of the year, the board decided that, you know, Director Boyd should get 10%, you know, or, I mean, some change in his salary, would it be, a financial difficulty to pull that out of fund balance?
No.
Okay.
All right. Let's vote, Jennifer, please.
All right, we'll do a roll call.
Okay, roll call this.
Mr. Masters?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin? Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hammond? Yes. Mr. Meredith?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
All approved.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys.
Thank you and Brad for the work you've done.
Yeah.
Last 2 weeks.
Brad gets to keep us here because if he would have to go and revise the whole budget again, I don't know if we can make it by the May 1st deadline.
We got one more thing on the agenda. do we wanna?
Yes, sir. As you recall, in our last meeting, we were addressed, the board was addressed by Mayor Grandia, just an update of the Boones Creek Athletic Field project. I have been recently asked to, or been informed that the thought is to form a task force, commissioners and board members. And Mayor Grandia earlier today just asked me if the item was discussed tonight for the board to consider that and maybe appoint 2 to 3, he said 2 to 3 board members to serve on that task force.
Can I nominate somebody? I'd like to nominate David Hammond and Chad Fleener. Both of their children have been still going, and and they seem to know more about what goes on. Is that agreeable?
I'd be honored, sir. Be good.
Of course, I believe they may intend to have 3 commissioners. You might consider a
Well,
third
okay. Anybody else?
also.
Those are the two I.
You take somebody out of the first or second district?
About Mr. Riddle?
Yeah,
You in?
he'd be good.
You wanna do it?
I'll do it.
Very good. Anybody else?
Well, did I have a second?
Second.
Hurry for the change.
I'm entertaining.
I believe she's took over the chairmanship. I really do.
I try to just keep my eyes on her because I'm like,
Lord of mercy, I'm sitting here going, damn, she's just took it over.
I just do what she says.
If you was a good chairman, you'd put her in her place.
Order, you got some order on her?
I think he did last time when he didn't entertain one of my motions. But anyway, I think we're.
You're sitting there just grinning.
Okay, let's vote on that, Jennifer.
All right, Mr. Masters?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. Irvin?
Aye.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes.
Ms. Dellinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fleener?
I'm gonna abstain. Since I'm
Mr.
gonna do
Hammond?
it.
Yes.
Mr. Meredith?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Approved.
All right.
Thank you. I will update Mayor Grandia on the appointed board members. Other than that, that's all the items for this called meeting.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Oh,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.